Having just finished one children's classic, Harriet the Spy, it's time to knock off another children's classic that I have shamefully not read yet and have been meaning to read forever, A Wrinkle in Time. So, this book, I do remember from childhood. My fourth grade teacher loved this book, loved the whole series. She had it in her little classroom library. You know how elementary teachers have their collection of books that you can take and read during free reading time in American schools. And she was, I think, repeatedly telling us how great this series was. She had, like, I think, the box set of the whole series. It didn't look anything like this one. I think the box set had like a boy and a girl on some sort of flying horse. Does that sound right to anybody else? And I actually, because she was praising it so much, and a couple of the other kids said they liked it, I had a go at reading it. And I remember vaguely the first chapter. I remember there was this strange little brother who was like, what was he, 5 years old? Some sort of prodigy. Uh, but he didn't talk at all like a 5 year old. He talked like an adult. And I had thought that was a little strange, but I thought, well, okay, that's, it's a fantasy book. This is what they're going on about. I remember some of the conversation, something about the road to hell being paved with good intentions, which I think was one of the first times I had heard that idiom. Right, that's in here somewhere, right? In the first few chapters. But yeah, so the 5-year-old prodigy brother is having this conversation with this woman who had come in from the rain or something like that. Like I said, it was some 30, 40 years ago at this point. So it's all a little bit foggy in the mind, but I do vaguely remember attempting this from fourth grade, getting a little bit confused and not really enjoying the author's style, and then just giving up and putting it back and going on to something else. And had thought at that time, like as you do when you're young, when you're in fourth grade, and you encounter a book that's a little bit challenging for you, you just think, oh, okay, I'll try it again in a couple years when my reading's a little bit better. But never came back to it. Partly because I'd gone down other avenues of interest. I've been meaning for years now to come back to it. Now, I've been living abroad for my adult life, which is, I guess, one of the reasons it's been a little bit difficult to track these books down. I'd been thinking for some time that I would wait until I had tracked down the whole quintet and read the series as a whole, which I never seemed to find the quintet out here in Asia. I don't know, maybe it's out here, but I haven't found it. But as I've gotten older and I am now into middle age, I've changed my philosophy on reading somewhat. My new philosophy is there's a book you want to read, don't wait around till you get your hands on the perfect edition or until you track down the whole series or something like that. Just read it when you can. If you can find it and you can read it, just read it. And then if at some point in the future I track down the whole quintet and I decide I want to read that, then I'll just reread it at that time. I mean, that's my philosophy on reading in general now. But, especially with a children's book like this, which is not long, and with any luck, I'll find this much easier to read than I did in fourth grade. This is the 50th anniversary edition, so not the edition my fourth grade teacher had, and it contains an introduction and an afterword, and I'll read through all that, but I'm not going to read there's one thing I've learned in my life is that introductions always spoil the book. So I'm just going to skip the introduction, go right here to chapter 1. It was a dark and stormy night, and start from here. I don't know if I'm tempting fate by saying this, but I do not know hardly anything about the book's plot. I know there was that movie that came out a few years ago, but I never saw that movie. I think I saw a trailer for it or something like that, but I don't really know anything about where this is going. So I hope to be pleasantly surprised by it. And with any luck, this will be a quick read, and then I'll come back with a review shortly.